December the 12th, 2023. Guys, we're getting sunset here in central Mississippi. It's been a beautiful day, a little cool, but man, who can complain about that bright sunshine and these cooler temperatures? A little heat at night, you're fine. Wonderful, really. I think we got some more rain coming in this weekend, guys. Could be similar to what we went through this past weekend, so keep an eye on that. What you're looking at, of course, Google Maps, and we've got Africa here and the Mediterranean. Now, this is important. Just kind of stay with me here. We got some stuff popping up over there coming in from Russia. But if you were going to, any of these people here that needed to ship, say around Africa or to get over to Asia, say if you're going to ship from Israel or Syria, Turkey, or Egypt, you had to go around Africa. Adds about 9+ days. Thousands and thousands of dollars to the time and the gas and the pay and for the crew and everything else. So long ago, they built the Suez Canal. Here is the Gulf of Suez. Here's the Gulf of Aqaba. So they built the Suez Canal. It's probably the most important, if not one of the most important in the world, because suddenly, and this is old, this thing's been here for a while, at Port Said, suddenly you did not have to go around the Mediterranean. All of Africa, think about that journey. You just cut through right there. Come into the Red Sea, and you're in the Gulf of Aden, into the Arabian Sea, and then can go anywhere you want to. India, Vietnam, Cambodia, you know the deal. But anyway, now currently, and it was longer when they first built this, but about on the big ships now about 9+ days, and it may be millions of dollars added for this trip. So and also another important factor here is that because of Israel coming in and taking this land, regardless of what you say about it, and that's not important for this video, they came in at that point. Egypt threw a fit. And you remember there was a war with Egypt against Israel not too long ago. Anyway, so Israel has been basically blocked from this canal. And this is the one, you remember the Evergreen, the ship that turned sideways in 2021? It's stuck in the sandbanks. And so that really put a cramp on international shipping. So what was actually proposed by the British almost 100 years ago, if not 100 years ago, was an alternative route. And so what they're talking about is, if you look at this map very carefully, this line is Egypt. Up through the center is where Jordan is, and over to the right. Let me back up right there. So what they're thinking about doing, and they've been talking about it actually in 1967, the U.S., with some help of some scientists, studied the area and proposed nuclear detonations of hundreds of underground explosions. I hope they don't do that now because they've got more modern techniques. But what they're planning, and they were planned to start it in 2021, but it's been planned for, again, 67 when the blueprints came out, was to come in here. Notice that this is the, again, Gulf of Aqaba. But Israel has a section of it from right here to right up here. And they've got one of their big ports here. Now let's pull this up. Here you got Elat. It's a big port here. You've got the Hyatt Regency, a lot of stuff in this area. But this is Israel, in this section right through here. Then you get into Egypt. On this side, you got Saudi Arabia. So let me back up. What they were planning to do was to come up this valley. Notice that you've got here the Dead Sea, and up here the Galilee Sea. Very popular little sea there, isn't it, guys? Anyway, these are below sea level. At first, they were talking about connecting the Gulf of Aqaba, this is a long time ago, with the Dead Sea and possibly the Sea of Galilee, which would have been disastrous. Engineers came in there and straightened them out, said, all of this area is below sea level. If you dig a canal which they're thinking about doing. That's the point of the video. You better stay out of this area. And so what they're going to do, and it was supposed to start in 2021, was to come up through this section of Israel and make a massive canal, guys, one much bigger than the Suez, and I think 150 meters deep, 600 meters wide, where you could have traffic going back and forth. And then they want restaurants, hotels, all kind of probably casinos, everything you can think of along this route. But what it would do would be give an extreme advantage to both Israel and the U.S. In other words, Israel no longer, but since they're restricted from a lot of the traffic here in the Suez, they were having to spend all that time, both militarily, think about that, and with shipping going all around that way. But so let me kind of give you an idea of what some of the maps are talking about. They wanted to come out right here, Iliad, come straight north, which is kind of out of the valley, make a bend, come back up and go through just north of Gaza, right there. That's kind of the plan of the canal. You're looking at $6 billion plus added annually to Israel's economy, because the traffic, that of course it would be like a toll bridge, right? Not only that, with that canal coming up through here, coming out, the original plans, I'm going to show you the original documents, were to come north of Gaza. But imagine what control that Israel could have by being able to come immediately into the Red Sea, right here, and then right out into the Gulf of Aden and into India and the rest of Asia to do their trading. But the warship capability, which will be shared with the U.S., would be tremendous. Now, one of the problems that they were concerned about, would Saudi Arabia go along with this deal? And it's not in the reports, but you know that they have out here the Leviathan natural gas oil fields that are some of the largest in the world. And I'm thinking, but and this is what I think the U.S. and Israel's thinking about, is with the right deal with Saudi Arabia, they wouldn't have problems in the Red Sea. Now, you got Egypt on this side. But still, once you make this connection into the Mediterranean, guys, it changes a lot of different things. Let's look at a couple of maps. Now, I pulled up two maps here. Here is the Bay of Aqaba. This is Israel. Here's Gaza. Jordan's here. Saudi Arabia here. And Egypt here. Again, this is the path. Here are the original drawings. Here's the top of the Bay or Gulf of Aqaba. And what Israel wanted to do is go straight north, like I was talking about. Over here is the Great Valley that the Dead Sea is in. So come north, stay out of that, because, again, if you look over to the right, the blue areas here are below sea level within this blue band. You don't want to deal with that when you're building canal, because everything would fill in this first, and you don't want to do that. Anyway, so they're going to come up right here, make this bend across these mountains, guys. If you look at Google Earth, you'll see really good images of what they're dealing with there. Come up and cut through the closest place they can. Come up through one of these big valleys to save time, blow holes through the mountain ridge, and come up, cut through here, and go through Gaza. If you look to the left here, this is Gaza right here on the side, right there. So they're going to come up through this area, make a bend through the mountains, come up, and miss Gaza. Now, they may not have to do that, because I think they're trying to take all of Gaza, where they would just come straight up and through into the Mediterranean. It would kill two birds with one stone in Israel's point of view. In other words, they wouldn't have Hamas terrorists, they call, right here next to this luxurious canal that they're going to build with cafes, hotels, and it will not be a sand canal like the Suez Canal where the Evergreen got stuck. This will be rock shores where you don't really have to dredge, and much wider, much deeper. Ships can go in both directions. Imagine, again, 600 meters wide, 150 meters deep, and kind of like luxury villages along that way. And I think that's what they're going to do, because militarily and economically, that is what the plan is. So looking at that, Gaza's right in the way, and I think that has a lot to do with what we're dealing with. Also, I'm going to link you to a YouTube channel called the $1 Billion Bills, something I found researching the project, and you can see it says Gaza potentially sits at the epicenter of the Ben Gurion canals, and he was the first Israeli prime minister, if I'm not mistaken. But I was mistaken about the $6 billion. They're talking about $55 billion now through the canal. Now, what they do, they go through in detail cost, engineering, some simulated images, things like that. It's very good. It's 9 minutes and 22 seconds. It fits in with the video I'm doing very well, and you can go through there. But I think what we're dealing with may be the real reason we saw the conflict begin in October 7th. Now, they were saying that a lot of people knew about this in advance and did nothing. Is this why? Guys, we're watching it. The link to this will be below. It's a heads up. Be safe.